As network operators deploy for the 5G era, the deployment and development of a telco cloud platform is vital for future operations and service delivery. I'm talking today with Sandeep Gupta from Bharti Airtel and Ben Panic from Red Hat about just such a deployment in India. So, Sandeep, let's start with Bharti Airtel. Can you tell us where you are with 4G and the key market dynamics in India?
Hi, Ray. First of all, thanks for hosting us here. Now, there are two different aspects that I'd like to bring up in the Indian telecom space, which is going to be interesting to set the context for this discussion. One is the type of consumption and the affordability factor for the mobile broadband data. India has the lowest price per GB when it comes to the mobile broadband services. Just to share with you, we in India are serving our customers with about 10 cents per GB of their consumption. And that basically means high level of affordability for our consumers, means a wider base that we are serving. Out of the 1.3 billion population, we have about 500 million smartphones, and the consumption pattern then basically goes up. And in our network right now, we are having more than 16 GB of data consumption that is happening per month per user, with more than 900 minutes of voice consumption per month per user. Basically, what I want to say is that the whole base that we have as population and consumers and subscribers on our network, with this type of consumption pattern, is putting a lot of load on the network. And as you would see, India is the highest consuming market in terms of data usage, and making the operators really work in an innovative manner in terms of managing this type of capacity, the loading on the network with the type of price realization that we have. And we all have to be very innovative in terms of how we serve our customers. And we would I would say, relevant to say here that we as Red Airtel are obsessed about customer experience, and that goes in our testimony from the third party benchmark partners, which have ranked us number one in terms of the video and data experience on our network. So I think that's the level of network that we have, and we are working in ways to make sure that we are able to deliver our services effectively and efficiently to the delight of the consumers.
Okay, great. So, to help deal with those very particular challenges, Airtel recently announced plans for an open hybrid cloud network that's going to be built with support from Red Hat and IBM. Can you tell us about that open hybrid cloud network and the role it plays in your strategy?
Certainly, Ray. If I were to start again from the context that we talked about earlier, the capacity is very high on our networks, and we selected Red Hat and IBM to build multi-service open cloud network, which will make the network more efficient, agile, as well as future ready for 5G. Talking about the Red Hat's open architecture, open ecosystem, we build our network functions for the on-prem telco cloud, both which are virtualized and containerized on this platform, on the single platform that we are engaging with Red Hat and IBM. This is going to help us to enhance the customer experience that we talked about earlier, that we are obsessed about, by bringing in better network performance, resilience, as well as automation, and then scaling it to the edge of the networks. I think one of the important points that I want to share is that with all this industrial automation coming in as an opportunity for our enterprise customers, we believe this open multi-service hybrid cloud will be a unique opportunity for us to serve our enterprise users with private and dedicated networks. Now, what this does is we are able to take the private dedicated radio network along with the cloud that can deploy the network functions, as well as it can deploy the enterprise functions or applications that are commonly deployed on Red Hat Cloud today as well. So that makes it very, very seamless, and I would say a value add for the enterprise customers who are looking for automation in their own domains.
Okay, so really important developments there for Airtel. So let's turn to Ben now. How is Red Hat assisting Bharti Airtel with the deployment of its open hybrid cloud network?
So Bharti Airtel's been a long-standing client of Red Hat. We've had a deep relationship for many years together. And now together with IBM, we're bringing different pieces of technology. So we're bringing OpenStack and OpenShift, and we're working the automation angle at scale to really drive those efficiencies that Sandeep talked about. We're also tapping into our global resource pool to bring our consulting team in at this early stage to help design and deploy and architect the solution. And I think that's really critically important. We're setting ourselves up to really tap into that enterprise market. And Sandeep did touch on that. Red Hat has a really diverse set of customers in the Indian market. And we're going to be working together to leverage the hybrid cloud that Airtel is deploying and take that to market, looking for new workloads and applications that we can position into that enterprise market and help Airtel differentiate themselves locally.
Now, this kind of platform is absolutely critical to the future success of a company like Bharti Airtel. So, Ben, can you just tell us what are some of the key criteria under consideration as customers deploy this kind of hybrid cloud network?
Well, we've been working with a number of different customers globally and throughout the region here in Asia Pacific. And in fact, I think APAC is actually probably leading to some degree with the work that we see in Japan with Rakuten, with the open hybrid cloud as they've collapsed IT and network into one single domain with one single cloud. They've really looked to the efficiency side of it, right? So they're trying to drive the cost out of the network. And of course, that's critical for all of us as we look to drive our market value. The other thing is all about the ecosystem. So with an open hybrid cloud, how do we leverage the ecosystem? How do we decouple from the traditional relationships that customers have had? And how do we open up new opportunities? So the ISV community is an example. How do we tap into that community, leverage the ecosystem, and bring choice, not only to the core applications that operators have, but thinking about the enterprise and the consumer and really the onslaught of opportunity that is in front of our telco customers. That's really what I see as one of the key differentiators and key decision criteria as they look towards a common horizontal telco cloud. It's being able to innovate, being able to leverage the ecosystem and drive new lines of business for them.
Okay, great. So let's turn back to Sandeep now. How will the open hybrid cloud network help Airtel meet the many challenges that come from operating in India, which is such a large, dynamic, and varied market? And how will this help with Airtel's vision of core to edge?
Yes, Ray, very relevant question. I think just to talk about it, for last 2 years, we've been deploying our networks on virtualized platforms. It will be important to mention here and relevant to say that our Volte network, which is serving 140 million customers, has been deployed over the virtualized platform, which we believe will be the world's largest IMS deployment on a virtualized platform. However, while this makes it ready for future technologies like 5G, we've been finding challenges with these vertically stacked platforms because of the ways that we have to plan, deploy, or manage these platforms as a life cycle for these cloud networks. And what this open hybrid cloud, multi-service cloud that we're building along with Red Hat and IBM will give us uniformity, will give us agility and automation to deploy, to operate, and manage these networks as part of the life cycle. In addition, it also gives us flexibility to onboard more and more network functions on the same cloud. Just to give you an example about the edge that you talked about, it's important to bring in the context of VRAN, where Bharti Airtel has been the first to deploy the virtual RAN networks in our commercial deployments right now. And we see this multi-service hybrid cloud to play an important role for scaling these type of virtual RAN networks to the edge, because when you really need to scale the VRAN deployments, we really need to take this cloud networks to the edge of the our network, with multiple services being deployed on that cloud, which means you have to deploy a VLAN based workload, but also deploy other network functions on the same cloud for local breakout, which will basically help us to enhance the customer experience by lowering the latency and obviously giving the scale that we need for India type of deployment. So I think the multi-service cloud is helpful for taking our network to the edge for VLAN type of deployments and bring in complete automation right from the point of plan, deploy, and operate of these cloud networks, which is important to bring the efficiency and agility finally to serve our end customers with lower time to market for new services that would be expected for B2C and B2B customers.
Okay, that's a really interesting edge use case. Ben, can you just tell us a little bit about Red Hat's edge strategy? And in particular, what do you see as the benefits from the deployment of vRAN or virtual RAN?
Well, when it comes to edge, Red Hat continues to expand our footprint in open hybrid cloud. It's really important for us to be able to give our customers the opportunity to increase their edge footprints and increase their far edge opportunities as well. So we are looking to shrink the footprint of OpenStack and OpenShift to ensure that our customers can deploy that deep into the network. We look to manage that with our advanced cluster management tools, which deploy applications, manage the cloud, and all the associated security policies at scale. And we tie all that together with a diverse ecosystem of ISV and NEP partners. And together with partners like IBM, we tie it all together. And that really provides the integration that customers are looking for. The benefits, of course, are being able to drive agility into the network. So being able to leverage the applications deep into the network for enterprise use cases really provides customers with opportunities that they didn't have today to monetize their network. That's what I'm really excited about.
Okay, great. So turning back to Sandeep, the Open Hybrid Cloud Network, this is a multi-vendor platform that's going to enable Airtel to host third-party virtual functions. How can this new cloud platform help you to onboard those virtual functions, and how can Red Hat and IBM help you with that?
Right, Ray. I think if you look at today's world of telecom networks, most of the functions or applications in the telecom network are already virtualized and moving towards the container platform. So, as I mentioned earlier in our discussion, this platform is a hybrid cloud which can take care of both the virtualized functions as well as the container functions on the same cloud instance, and which I think is an important parameter when you talk about bringing in efficiency and pooling of the resources. Having said that, I think as Ben mentioned, the value of Red Hat and IBM is in bringing the ecosystem benefits in terms of all the upstream improvements that the ecosystem does along with Red Hat partnership, and the open architecture provides us the capability to build these network functions which are certified by IBM uh, directly into production. So we don't have to worry a lot in terms of heavy lifting of these type of workloads on the cloud. With this combination of ecosystem contributions, IBM certification, and the commercialization from our side, we believe that this is the right way to scale a lot of network functions, whether they are virtualized or containerized on this platform. And I think second thing that I would like to highlight here, Ray, is that we've been working in a very unique manner right now with Red Hat and IBM, and I would like to dwell upon that a little bit here in this discussion. The one of the challenges with these cloud networks is the way you have to build them, plan them, build them, and operate them. And what we've done along with Red Hat and IBM is started a journey which I think is unique across the globe in terms of automation of the complete cloud lifecycle, right from the time that you want to plan for any workload on this cloud to the BOQ generation, to designing the low-level design, to deploying the cloud in a automatic manner, and finally to operate in a manner that it's a single-click deployment and a zero-touch operations. So we have started this journey together as part of this engagement, and we will be going live with some of these use cases very shortly, and complete these use cases in this quarter that we have targets for. And I think this will really make life very simple for telecom operators to use and leverage the power of automation to really build up these cloud networks. And I finally, it basically makes us move back to our focus on enhancing the customer experience by bringing such type of infrastructure which is fully automated, which is fully resilient, and then ready to provide more and more digital services to end customers, both again to the retail customers or the enterprise customers who could use even this platform for their far edge applications, as I mentioned earlier.
So Sandeep, automation absolutely critical to the operation of next-gen telco networks. And both yourself and Ben have also mentioned the importance of the ecosystem. So Ben, if I can turn to you, can you tell us about how you expect the ecosystem to change and develop during the 5G era?
So one of the other areas that I believe, especially as we move into 5G and vRAN, is around that flexibility of choice. Customers are looking for the ability to tap into new use cases that ultimately are going to be developed by the ecosystem. We see today things like automation, we see autonomous cars, we see manufacturing use cases. I'm really excited to see some of the developments that will be ongoing as the ISV community develops new workloads and new applications. Operators are going to have an opportunity to monetize their network in ways that we haven't seen previously in 3G and 4G, pushing those applications out to the edge, driving ultra low latency applications is going to allow those operators to drive new revenue streams and tap into new markets.
Okay, excellent. Yes, and this is all a very new and different way of working. So, Sandeep, to close out today's discussion, one of the big topics around the telco cloud and the introduction of new technologies is how this impacts the way that operators behave on a day-to-day basis. So, how will the introduction of the open hybrid cloud network impact Bharti Airtel as an organization? How will it impact its people, its culture, its skills? And as well, how does this change the engagement with technology suppliers and how you work with your technology partners?
Good question, Ray. I think let me answer in two different parts as to your question here. I think first of all, again, bringing the complexity of the scale and the diverse ecosystem that we have of our partners in Bharti Airtel, we've been embracing automation, digitization, and open ecosystem on architecture for the last 2 years. It's been important to make sure that we can simplify our network operations. And as I said, this engagement with Red Hat and IBM is also a step in the same direction, where, as I mentioned, that we have an aspiration to really automate the whole life cycle of the cloud deployment, right, as a single click deployment and a zero touch operation. What we really want to do is to transform our planning and operations process through this engagement, if I may say, so that we really change from a traditional telco ways of working to web scale type of operations and planning, which basically gives us more agility, more bandwidth to focus on developing new digital services for our customers, and make sure that we are having more uniformity in our network operations by the machines doing these things rather than human beings doing it. Now, the point that in terms of reskilling our resources, it's important, and I think it has given an opportunity for our employees to really work as a team member in this engagement for co-development of this new initiative that I talked about. So rather than just being the user of technology that we have been traditionally been as operators, we are now becoming partners in development, if I may say, along with the Red Hat and IBM in terms of their community, and that kind of changes the way our team members are engaging with the community as a whole. And obviously that needs reskilling those resources, and we are really focused on bringing new skills on the cloud network, on the automation, on digitization for these team members to make sure that they are empowered and ready to bring the transformation that will be critical for moving uh, on the scale that we have, and obviously getting ready for 5G and the digital services that we as a nation and we as an operator want to deliver going forward. So I think that's one part of the question. The second part is, how is the engagement changing with the existing partners that we have? Now, as I said earlier, the partners that we have which are bringing these applications are all having virtualized or containerized functions. Having the cloud being built in an automated manner with an open and multi-service capability lets our partners focus more about how they can improve their software performance, capacity of their network functions in terms of the scale and resiliency, and then obviously build more digital services that we can go around along with them for our retail and B2B customers. So it's all about focusing on their domain where they do the things the best, and we take care of part of the work that make sure we are building the cloud networks ready for their container or virtualized platform to be deployed on.
Okay, fantastic insights there into the development of the next generation telco platform. So Sandeep, Ben, thanks very much for joining us today and sharing your insights.